Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Opening of new wing at True Blue Bay Resort expected to increase room stock. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, December 12th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Grenada's room stock is expected to increase in early January with the opening of the True Blue Bay Resort new wing, which will also mean an increase in employment. Speaking exclusively with the Government Information Service, resort owner Russ Fielding says the expansion has been in the works for 3 years now. He says the cost for the project is in the vicinity of 10 million EC dollars, of which 6 million have already been invested. He believes the investment is significant in a time when there's recorded growth in the economy.
We're putting in 21 new rooms. Those are going to consist of 17 standard rooms and 4 suites. There's 2 swimming pools. We've put a kids club in place over there, which is a facility for both our staff and for our guests. The staff, of course, a lot of them have got young children, so it's like a daycare centre for them, and the guests get the privilege of using it as well.
The first guest is expected on January 11th, 2019. The Office of the Integrity Commission says a commission of inquiry is scheduled to begin in the first quarter of the new year into the affairs of the Marketing and National Importing Board, MNIB. This was revealed by Chairman of the Commission, Mrs. Anande Trotman Joseph, in her message to mark International Anti-Corruption Day on December 9th. Lady Anande said in her message that interviews with individuals who have knowledge of the operations of the MNIB were scheduled to begin on Friday, December 14th. And the Commission of Inquiry into the matter will begin in the first quarter of 2019.
The ongoing investigation of the Marketing, National and Importing Board, the MNIB, has indeed received much public attention. The overriding objective of this investigation is to determine the effectiveness of the processes, systems and practices of that organization in recent times. The investigatory stages are proceeding in a very satisfactory manner.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatality. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Continuing the news, the Grenada Cultural Foundation says the 2018 Christmas in the Gardens is a must-attend event on Sunday, December 16. Chief Executive Officer Shoma Wells says the 5th annual event is themed Essence of Spice as it encapsulates local talent, entertainment and spice decor. It also features a children's village and a lot of giveaways.
We're starting out at 3 o'clock as per usual with our children's village. There's going to be bouncing castle and that is for free. Face painting, trinkets will be on sale, and the children will have a wonderful time. We know that for sure. And then Santa comes in with his goodies, and that is when the excitement really starts. The children have an opportunity to have their picture taken with Santa Claus. I'm going to be taking one as well, so I hope you come and take one yourself. And they get a little gift, and they all feel very special.
To reduce operational costs, the foundation condensed the event into one day in 2017. But Wells says if the corporate community supports the idea, there is the possibility that it can once again be extended.
It is a costly operation, and it all depends on the revenue generation to keep something like that over an extended period of time. We have done it for about 3 years straight, and the cost is very heavy for us. So we decided to condense it into one day. However, we leave our lights on at least for an extended period of time over the holiday season. If going forward we can certainly have some more corporate citizens partnering with us, we're able to bring a greater cheer to the people of Grenada by ensuring that we can continue to do it for a longer period of time.
Entrance fee for patrons 10 years and older is $10, and children under 10 will be allowed to enter free. The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands continues to touch base with farmers to ensure that they are adhering to climate-smart practices and meeting market demands for their produce. Officials recently toured farmlands in the north of the area, as we hear in this Cherry Malcolm report.
The recent tour, held in the Northern District of St. Patrick, saw visits to 4 success stories in agriculture. First stop, Erlen Monroe's poultry farm at Moncraven.
First time we get them, we put in trampoline around and put in some heat light for them to feel warm. In 3 days time, we could just take out the trampoline for them to get some air.
How much workers do you have on the farm?
7 of us.
7. And that is the amount that it would be to do the entire processing?
Yeah. Okay.
Then on to Matthew Phillips' over 10-acre spread, growing mostly vegetables.
So right here we have just a little over 3,000 cabbages. That cabbage would be ready for the early part of next month.
And a whirlwind visit to a hybrid electricity project at River Sally, utilizing Mother Nature's inexhaustible supply of wind and sun.
You know, it was very difficult for me. I didn't have a pump or an electrical pump, and then I realized you could incorporate the two of using wind and solar, and then I just decided, wow, that would be a really good idea. So I designed a small system, and it worked temporarily because I didn't have new batteries, so it worked for like 15 minutes, and I wasn't able to get water in, and then Mr. Campbell came in, and then the MARP came and funded this state-of-the-art project.
The team of extension officers and farmers ended their tour at the Belmont Estate, renowned for its organic farming.
Our production is mainly based on compost material. We put in our compost material, and then you put your plants on top of it. Right? It is embedded in the soil. That way you ensure that you retain moisture contents and the plant will get the nutrients that they need to grow.
What if you have an infestation of worms, like your cabbage have worms, or rust mite or whatever? How do you control that?
Right. We have something called Nimex, and it is extracted from the neem tree, so it's not any synthetic. Right, it's a natural, right? So we use that, and we do some hand picking also.
The whole idea is an educational activity that will be carried out. The farmers will be able to see the different practices, the different methods and ways and things of doing things, especially in farming, in poultry, in solar energy, solar systems and so. So we have decided to make that field tour today and to educate the farmers along this line so that they will have a better appreciation for what is being done.
And that's the National Report. I am Leslie Ann Johnson.
Putting the lens on Grenada, its people and its possibilities. This is State of Affairs. Reporting this week, I am Abigail McIntyre. Work begins on the new Renegade Rum Distillery. Find out how this new foreign investment project is bringing much needed development to the parish of St. Andrew. bringing back the national platform for young people to express their skills and talent. Hear more about the return of the Festival of the Arts, even after a 9-year break. And Grenada gears up for another referendum, this time to decide on whether the CCJ is the best fit for the country's final Court of Appeal. See why government thinks it is. Kevin Frederick, Wendy, Edmund, and myself all report from the Grenada Heartland when we come back.
Yeah, I know you that win from back to back, you know. There's no way that a man could ever beat you. We went to about 5. What are the last? Too fast. Man run with hold on. Rennie, you're not the same girl. You're all that motor boy. In truth. Yeah. That's your chance, Rennie. Hold on. It's the walk.
Whenever a pedestrian is attempting to cross a pedestrian crossing or any other road, he must first stop and make sure that there is no oncoming vehicle. However, if there is any oncoming vehicle, he crosses briskly from one side to the other. If there is any vehicle proceeding, he ensures that vehicles come to a complete stop. After that vehicle comes to a complete stop, he crosses briskly from one side to the other. Remember, your safety comes first.
Welcome back. Grenada is one step closer to seeing the production and export of the premium Renegade rum. Construction work has begun at the site for the new distillery in Conference, St. Andrew, and the company is moving full force ahead to meet a deadline of July 2019.
I said to him, there'll be a day when, we'll be up in this field and we'll be starting this project for real, when people will start to see things happening. And that will be really the touch paper for the project. That will be the time when people really start taking notice of what we're doing.
That is Mark Rainier, owner and investor of Renegade Rum Distillery, the newest developmental project now under construction in the eastern part of the island, Conference St. Andrew to be exact. He was speaking at the sword-turning ceremony of the distillery back in July of 2018. Today, State of Affairs visited the site to see exactly what has been done since, and the view is monumental.
Where we are standing, we have excavated about 1, 2, 3, 4 foundations for 4 different buildings. This is a warehouse, the aging warehouse, where we'll have our barrels and so aging with the product. So he's just tidying up that foundation right there. Over there we'll have the still house, and then the brew house. The still house is where you'll have the distillation columns. We'll have 2 stills, a pot still and a column still. And then we'll have the brew house, where we'll have our fermentation tanks and so on. That one straight in front of us there is what we call the utility building. The utility building will house things like our meals, our chillers, our boilers, and so on to provide all the necessary utilities for the process.
This idea of a modern rum distillery was born about 10 years ago by investor Mark Rainier. He has produced Scotch whiskies and wines that sell on the exclusive lists of high-end bars and restaurants around the world. And for the last decade, he has been in search of the prime location to start the production of rum. He visited the islands of Cuba, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Fiji, Reunion, and none compared to the connection he felt when he arrived in Grenada for the very first time.
I remember arriving at the airport and from the airport I felt this place feels good. This is it. This is where we're going to do it. This is exactly what I've been looking for. An island that has a contentment, a joie de vivre, a happiness. You can feel it at the airport, and I think this is one of the great things you've got. You can feel it's tangible.
A brief exploration of the island revealed that the cane industry was a dead one, and so the idea of a rum distillery here was near impossible. But Mark, being a savvy businessman and optimist, saw potential in the island and so started Cane Co., the company that is responsible for growing the cane for production. Specified strains of cane was imported, ideally suited for the types of soil and its environment. 2 years later, we now see almost 300 acres of cane fields in parishes across the country, giving life to a dead industry.
To reawaken an agricultural sector that has withered away, to add value to a sector that has struggled, to encourage farmers, to give them an avenue to make some money for themselves, to feel good about themselves, to grow something, to see where it ends up.
Now, with the cane in full production, it's time to get ready for harvesting and milling. This is where the new Renegade Rum Distillery comes in. A deadline has been set for July 2019 to have the factory up and running. It will be the first of its kind in this part of the hemisphere.
This is the first of its kind. This is a game changer. For the Caribbean, Central America, Southern America, this is a game changer. And it's about the coming together of the different skills, the different people that are required to make such a thing happen. We've got, in this project, we've got machinery coming from Scotland. We've got tanks coming from Ireland. We've got a biomass boiler coming from South Africa. We've got mills coming from Brazil. We've got software, IT, coming from America.
All very tight.
Bring out the big turkey you have hiding. Bring out the special wine you have saving. That is the time that bring togetherness. I tell you this Christmas is the best. Me mind, I remember in the days when we serenading from house to house, storming down by we neighbor, eating up all this office sauce. So much fest we have to attend, some we the rich in time. This say I want you have we on your mind. Save something for me, some ginger beer, a piece of black cake. Save something for me. This say the pie would never escape. Save something for me, and it don't matter if I reach late. Save something for me. Put a little of everything in my plate. Give me no one, give a little, give a little, give a little. Share a little, share a little, share a little.
Yes, indeed. Say something for me, you know. Yes. Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. 20 minutes after you're 10 o'clock. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
Yes, indeedy. Yeah, and we're live on the City Sound FM broadcasting out of River Road in St. George's.
89. Oh.
Yeah, you're going correct, man.
89.5 CRFM.
What am to you
Up there in Monjalo, my volume was a bit low.
Your volume?
Yeah.
Oh, your volume on your thing there. Okay, your volume high. Yeah. So City Sound FM, CRFM,
CRFM.
92.9 in Garaku.
Yes.
Sister Al.
Sister
Al, are you hearing us today?
Yes.
Are you hearing us?
Raise it, Tom.
What happened in 6 Road last night? 6 Road last night, I think, was supposed to have been the Parang train. All right? Parang train was supposed to pass in 6 Road last night. So I wonder if 6 Road end up down to 4 roads right now. When the Parang train pass, what? It's not 4 roads again. Right now, it's not 6 roads. Well, there are 4 roads in Grenada. There are 6 roads in Carriacou. Anyway, had 3 roads or 2 roads.
Not easy.
The train pass, it is no road again. It's track right now. So it's 6 track. Carriacou. Yeah, let me shout out to all the people up there in 6 track. It's not 6 roads again. It's 6 track now because train does run on track. So the Parang train passed there last night, so they say it's no longer 6 roads. Now it's 6 track. I hear a real name call.
so imagine after Sunday.
Yes, indeed. And our good friend.
Hey, 94.9 We Vibes Radio in Brooklyn, New York. With Kunumunu Man.
Yeah.
Good morning, bro.
Not just Kunumunu, the original Kunumunu.
Kunumunu Man, yeah.
Yeah, the genesis of Kunumunism.
Yes.
Yeah, the Kunumunism. Yeah, that's started.
It's in his DNA.
Yeah, Kunumuism.
You know, the chromosomes and so, mix up, and that's him.
The Kunumunu chromosome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the Kunumunu chromosome. Yeah. But here when you call and deal with you.
Boy, if your passengers and them only know how we just call you and treat you, eh?
I don't think they'll know what a Kunumunu is.
Yeah, they don't know what a Kunumunu is.
A Trinidadian and a Grenadian, they know what a Kunumunu is. I think outside of Trinidad and Grenada, I'm not too sure the islands has used that terminology as Kunumunu.
Not even Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's a unique something, Kunumunu.
Yeah. So we're trying to find out. We know it has 6 roads, it has 4 roads. If it has 3 roads or 2 roads anyway. Maybe 8 roads. You know, understand? Or road. Yeah. So
never a dull moment.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh. Oh, we're not live, eh?
You're not live? Yeah, we live, man.
So what's wrong with my...
Your computer ain't ticking? You ain't doing anything? Lulu, good morning. Yeah, I see everybody jumping onto the live this morning, folks. Yeah, okay. Remember to like and share the live. I'm going to do it right now. First, I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to share it. Yes, so like and share the live. Like and share the live. Mr. Technical Man, I ain't think Devon getting you this morning. You getting you now? Yeah, man, you refresh. Yeah, you see, he typing and he doing everything with one hand now. Eh? He can't use it too. Yeah, he's still the one hand bandit.
I did.
Yeah, so right now he's just operating like that, Yeah. I mean, we know what it means. Ivor, which island you're from? We want to make sure, I hear me talking back to myself somewhere here.
That is me.
Oh, that you? Yeah. Ivor, which island are you from? You're saying you understand what Kunumunu means. Which island are you from? Let us know.
Avinci man might know that.
Avinci man might. We that close, yeah?
Yeah, Avinci man might know that. So I won't be... Kunumunu.
So Kunumunu is a regional thing then? I thought it was kind of Trinidad and
Grenada. We are in the Trinidad and spread these things around.
So Kunumuism is regional?
Yeah, it's basically might be regional because, that's how the thing works.
Now you're from Birch Grove, yeah?
You're
a Grenadian. We expect you to know about that. What kind of Kunumuism you're coming to?
Take a Kunumunu in your blood,
Yes, indeed, folks. Hey, the phone lines are open, 440-7377, 440-7377.
347-329-3101.
Yeah, we're still taking a look as well as the entire year 2018. The election period was a very interesting period. And actually, we started the year 2018 with opposition forces begging for a general election, asking for it, saying they wanted, saying that the New National Party was afraid to call it because the New National Party was going to lose. And in fact, you had predictions by some persons in the National Democratic Congress that the NNP was going to lose as badly as 14-2. Yeah, they say the only seats NNP winning is St. Mark and St. George Northwest.
And perhaps one in St. Andrews. But what gave them that assertion? What really, bring them to that position where they could have won?
We go find out. We have a caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
Season
morning,
greetings
man.
to you guys.
And seasoning and greetings to you too.
I'm
Good
just
morning.
calling because I never get the stuff on top of the hill removed by the authorities. And what I realized that I came out down the road that night and I see somebody take all the stuff, the mud that they pack up on the side of the road, and they send it back down in the drain that's in the bottom over Silver Sands. They send all the mud back down in the drain.
The ones that was by the bus stop there in
Yes,
front of the
down
post
by
office.
the post office down there.
Somebody threw that back in the drain.
They send it back down in the drain because probably the stuff is hamburging the traffic, so somebody send it back down in the drain.
Oh my God.
So I pleading to the people and the authority, please, when they take out the stuff from the drain, try and send truck to remove it because it just hamburg the traffic because the traffic had to go more to the center of the road. People cannot pass. Please try to do that. And my mom is going and pay somebody now to clean up that side of the road because, or by my side up on top of the hill there because it's in a mess. Why the sense of cleaning the road and leaving all the stuff and nobody is not picking it up?
Wow, that is not good. Definitely not good.
So I want they try to, because right now the road want cleaning again because all the stuff that they cut is in the road making a mess there. All people passing and they putting all the stuff. So we going now with garbage bags and pay somebody to clean up that part of the road. So guys, please just try to speak to the people who have the authority over these things to do something about it and try to pick up the mud in the road when they clean the drain.
All right, my dear. We will definitely continue doing.
So guys, if I can call again, have a good Christmas. Enjoy yourself. Don't drink too much. Don't eat too much ham. Because remember, we have to look at our health.
I mean, if you ain't call her, you have to call her and tell us Merry Christmas closer to Christmas. I'm not taking it now.
So, take care.
All right,
All right.
yes. All right, yeah. While you were talking, you'd realize I was furiously typing because I was sending off a message there because that is unacceptable. I mean, I understood the situation, the Perseverance dump site, that it is closed at a particular time so that when the trucks go to pick up the garbage in the night, they're having the problem that when they go to Perseverance, it's closed. So they can't go in to deposit the garbage there. And that might lead some to do some wrong thing like go and put it in, throw it over a cliff here and throw it over a hill there and all this sort of nonsense. Yeah, so I understand that aspect of it. But also I think it is important because I thought that a solution had been found to that what would happen is that there would be people there at Perseverance for a particular amount of time because you can't, it's difficult. We know especially now, right now, it's nearly impossible to park up a truck and go collecting this sort of stuff during the daytime here in it going down to the south. It's nearly impossible. I can assure you that if you're going into the south right now, you will meet traffic delays right now. And it's going to get not better, worse over the next few days into the next couple of weeks. That's not an excuse. Yeah, it's not an excuse. We have to find a solution to it because for someone to take the mud that was there, I realize I'm not seeing it. But I'm driving. This caller actually walks in that area when she's going down to the beach different. She walks in that area. So she would see. So for someone to take it and throw it back in the drain, I wish we could have find the person though on camera.
That is so, I mean.
But I make them put it in bucket and jog it.
Why would you want to do something like that?
Yeah, I make them put it in bucket and jog it from day to Perseverance. Or you could take it and throw it back in the drain. Yes, it's dry season. But brother man, I see flood in dry season already, you know.
Oh, a lot
I see flood in dry season. I remember January River Road flood, you know. They say me of Iva. In fact, they say me of Iva in 2004, January, February, somewhere there you had a bad flood in the River Road area. So it's nothing to joke about.
River Road is one area you don't play with when it comes to flooding and so.
So I've sent off a message and I'm just waiting on a response in relation to that particular issue. Yeah? So I'm waiting for a response. I'm hoping that we could get a response before the end of the program in relation to that. Also tomorrow we'll try to have at least a call in relation to the situation with the butcher shops.
Yeah, the butcher shops, somebody
Also, it might be wise or it might be plausible. I don't know if it's still being done that they would have inspectors go around. If people are allowed to butcher in the village or the community or whatever, that they have an inspector go over, view, make sure everything is okay, and then stamp the meat, that it can be sold. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon. How are you? How everything?
All right,
quite fine.
Okay, Brother Devon and Sheldon, I want to give you thanks and praise for waking me up this morning. Me, my family, and other family members, throughout our nation, throughout the world of God to see. And Brother Devon, I want to say, this year, when you look at the situation during hurricane season, we were over average, right? And we will get no major hit. I want to give God thanks for His mercy for sparing our nation from any major hurricane, right? I also want to say give congratulations to the government for managing the economy so wonderful. I'm saying congratulations to this government. They did a wonderful job in managing the economy of this country. And many praise go to the government for a job well done. I want to say thanks to the Prime Minister and his cabinet and his team for doing a wonderful job. And Brother Devon, something I want to say also again. Sometimes in life, as I'm a Christian person, go to church, but sometimes the things that we get involved in, right, as a Christian person in life, is not healthy. Because the Word of God said that we have to let our lights shine before men, that they will see our good works and glorify God. And so some people now, like they preach the Word of God, they say to people, love the neighbor. And then, but what you are the person who tells people to love the neighbor, what you are doing, you're doing the opposite. So if we as parents, we as adults, speaking to our children and want our children to grow up in the right way, what we say to them, that should manifest in our life as adults. Yes, it's good to say something that is good to lead to you in the right way, but we have to live after what we say, right? And God is a God of peace. He's not a God of confusion. And we are children of light. We have to follow after the footsteps of God. We have to follow the word, because in John it said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. All right, so we have to walk according to the Word of God, not according to the fancy of tradition, the fancy of man, but we have to walk according to the Word of God, because the Word is God and God is the Word. All right, because in James he said again, in James 1, he said, if we be a hearer of the Word and not a doer, we deceive God over our own self. And listen, that many times we speak love, but what we practice hate. I want to call upon we Christian people in our country, let us be followers of Christ. Let us be doers of the Word and not talkers. Right? Because we have to lead by example. And if you want to let our light shine, we must have to be doers of the Word. But Brother Devon, Brother Sheldon, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you all.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Hey, a pleasant good morning to all of you just joining us on the live here. And so, Deepo, good morning to you. Yes, I remember the water taxi around this time. You remember where Rudolph used to be right there in the footstool?
Mm-hmm.
Water taxi around this time from there to go over by the fire station, Polar Bear, and all these guys and them. And I used to make real money. Imagine across the carnage. So you don't have to walk all over. Take the little boat. Either an oaring boat too, eh? Sometimes you're lucky to get a little engine boat, but the oaring boat. And you're oaring going across. So that was fun.
That's a workout for the new year. 4407377
and 347-329-3101.
So we were looking at the election 2018, and again, we had been having, even around this time last year, you had opposition spokespersons out there saying, well, call the election. Dr. Mitchell is afraid to call the election.
Call
the New National Party.
Call the thing.
Yeah.
we had a thing around. Play some of them thing.
I never could find it.
And big some reminder. 1 year ago. Call the thing now. Call the thing.
And if we could find it, boy, yeah, we had a sure could find it.
Oh boy, that was some memories,
oh boy, where is
man.
that? Where is that? Where is that?
Telling you, that was fun. That was fun. You know, and they were vocal around that. They call the thing. Afraid to call. And
imagine I get rid of them thing and them out.
And if they call, they know they're gonna lose. And every time I was like, okay.
Well, anyway, we go find it.
Yeah, we go find it somehow.
We'll find it eventually.
Yeah, just to rub it in. We just wanted to rub it in this morning.
You want to rub it in? I ain't rubbing it in. But what I would say is this, though, that they did face the general election, and what they had been saying didn't materialize. One, they said the New National Party was afraid to call a general election. The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
That was a lie.
They said that the New National Party would lose 13 seats.
Yeah, 13.
That the New National Party would lose 13 seats. Yeah. That the only seats they would win would be St. Mark and St. George Northwest. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. They said that Nazim Burke would be the Prime Minister of Grenada by about now, so. Yeah. The lie detector just determined that was also a lie.
Lie detector almost break, you know.
Yeah, boy.
They almost break.
Believe me.
First, you had lie to detect.
Yeah, so it was all in all an interesting election. I remember Dr. Mitchell at the beginning of the election period saying this has been one of the most calm elections that he's been through. He didn't have to beat up himself, because around in the 2003 election campaign, 2008, 2013, and now the 2018, and I could tell you the 2018 was the most relaxed.
Yeah, it was calm.
It was the most relaxed one of them all. Yeah. So that was the case with that particular one. You've also seen somebody again, eh?
Somebody said to rub it in.
No, it's not. Me, Devon who want to rub in thing, and not me.
As a reminder, you know what I'm saying?
Devon who looking to do that, yes, not me.
A December to remember. Judah, good morning.
all December is to remember for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you had that. You had some new individuals facing the polls this time on behalf of the New National Party. Persons who at this time last year would have been constituency caretakers and not yet candidates on behalf of the party. Candidates on behalf of the party, not yet members of parliament, as in parliamentary representatives. You had 2 who would have been members of parliament, but not 3, but not parliamentary representatives. So you'd have had then Senator Peter David, then Senator Kate Askeeta Lewis, and then Senator Pamela Moses, who would have been on the Senate. And me and Devon did tell you that enjoy watching them in the Senate, because they ain't going to be there for long.
Yeah,
we know that was going where they going.
Passing through.
Yeah, they was just passing through. We told you that. And it wasn't being boastful. It was looking at the information before us, the factual, truthful information before us, and making a judgment based on that. And that is how we were able to say that. It wasn't that we was boasting and we just think. We are saying it straight up, as in we know that's what's going to happen. And did we prove to be wrong? We were not. Yeah. You also had several members of parliament being returned. You had in St. Patrick, you had the Honorable Anthony Boson being returned. St. Mark, well, I hear a certain man in St. Mark, when after 5, he didn't wait for 6 o'clock, and I hear that man just pick up his folder and he head home, because he know he lose.
I find you wait long.
But after 5, I hear the man just pick up his folder. He say, watch me hanging around here for this, and he gets going. Well, I don't know what you went for in the first place, but anyhow, because you go up against the Lioness, that go happen to you. So St. John, we had the Honorable Alvin Dabrio returned. For St. George, we had Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell returned, Honorable Tobias Clement returned, Honorable Gregory Bowen returned. We had the Honorable Nicholas Steele. I wonder if we could consider that as returned, and because between himself and Honorable Peter David,
returned to a different constituency.
Yeah, he was returned to Parliament, but under a different constituency. And we had the Honorable Peter David returning to his original seat
after a 4-year absence.
Yeah. In St. David, we had the Honorable Oliver Joseph returned. In St. Andrew, the sisters linked up. So we had the Honorable Delma Thomas, Honorable Yolan Bain Hosford, and Honorable Emlyn Pear returned in St. Andrew. So, yeah, we had quite a few MPs returned. And again, the new ones, Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis, Honorable Kindra Matthew and Stewart of there in Carriacou, and Honorable Pamela Moses. Yeah, the newcomers who were able to pull it off.
I think one very interesting thing, the combination of 7 women vying for the new National Party, I mean, with an additional boost, right, to the party going into March 13th election. I mean, the appreciation of the Grenadian people to see so many, almost 50% of those vying on one political party's ticket is women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's woman power. That's,
That's why, we knew that we had an excellent team. I think that the the National Democratic Congress unashamedly sent forward a substandard slate of candidates, mediocre substandard candidates, which is why they face the fate that they faced then, and it doesn't seem like they're looking to make any changes to that. So it seems as though they're looking to make that same mistake again. We're not offering advice to them, but sometimes you want a little fight sometimes.
And we all are Grenadians. We want to see good take place in Grenada.
Yeah, so the candidates were substandard.
Yeah, when you have organizations, you want to know that they are functioning properly and have the right people there.
And if they think that it's the campaign, the election campaign itself, that won the seats for the New National Party, I believe while that does play an element in the entire thing, I, in my own believe that the New National Party, quite long before, had already placed itself into the position due to the work that has been done in Grenada, with not only with the economy, because at that point in time, remember, you were just ending the structural adjustment program. Yeah, you didn't hear about Dr. Mitchell winning finance minister of the year and that sort of thing yet. You heard that after the election. But at that point in time, even with all the sacrifices everybody made, they were still confident that the New National Party was the better choice. Public servants, whether established or unestablished staff, could still testify that it's the New National Party that made sure that they got their salaries on time. They didn't have that sort of belief or trust in a certain other organization to continue doing that. It is the New National Party, when you speak to our sportsmen and sportswomen, who gave Grenada a Class 1. You can't get certified higher than that stadium in Grenada. In fact, the top rated in the region. Grenada's Kirani James Athletic and Football Stadium. And that was built within that period, 2013 to 2018. Well, not even 2018, 2013 to 2016. It was built. And completed. I would know. I'll pull up a chair and show them. I would know about that. And also to have the housing projects started now. They weren't started before the election, but they started now.
They started now. I was viewing some photos of St. Patrick's, the villa.
Started to look nice, man. I was looking at that and, boy. Wow. Looking good there. Carriacou as well, in the Dumfries.
And St. David's on top of that hill there, man. That whole entire landscape over there.
And there's a lot of people. St. David is getting the lion's share, I believe.
Definitely.
But St. David has to get the lion's share because Honorable Oliver Joseph don't play that, when he asks, he does say, when he go in cabinet, he does say, St. David is bigger than everybody else, so we had to get more than other people.
And then after Ivan gave St. David's a serious blow in terms of the housing stock, and so definitely, and they need much more. Right, but over time, you have the parliamentary representative there lobbying and ensuring that, especially housing assistance for his constituents, And so, but hey, it's just a matter, just have to keep moving. Just keep moving and delivering. Keep moving and delivering. You have a good team, right? You have the environment, and hey, the Grenadian people love that. So, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, so the election period itself was a very interesting one. It's the first election night for a very long time. I wasn't anxious. No, seriously, this election night, I wasn't anxious. Wasn't worried about the new national party going out of office. That was
not a thought.
It's just one or two seats that you knew would be kind of close, or in some cases that you thought would be close, and just to make sure that you win. That's the main thing. But because whether you win by 1,000 or you win by 1, the bottom line is you win. You're the one that's in parliament, the other person is out. Yeah.
You know, but despite that we knew that there were some very close calls with a couple of seats, we were confident, especially right here on this program, we were confident as way back as a year before the election that NMP is going to regain all 15 seats based on the work, the foundation that has been done over the last the 3 years prior to the election, 4 years prior, because we understood that, look, if you deliver, if you give people what they need, right? If you, for example, the structural adjustment program, if you get people to understand why it was done, the importance of it, and so on, the benefit it will bring, then that was all that was needed to be done. Good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Kami, morning. Morning. Kami forget us and she go talking to somebody then. Kami, your credit running down.
Hello?
Kami, your credit running down. You're talking to other people.
Listen to me by the Prime Minister the passing by.
Oh, okay.
Good morning. Prime Minister, so I cannot lose track. Morning. Boss going up. Oh, man, they go there the other way. I want to sell up, they go boss. They like a pickup.
Egg is there?
Anyhow, good morning to Grenada. I'm sorry for the Matnik and season greetings. And you're talking about, I want to thank the government of Grenada and Caribbean Piggy Matnik for the piece of work well done for us in Boucherjou.
Yeah.
Right? We get a piece of the pie. So on the behalf of the people in the neighborhood, Boucherjou, Happy Hill, Brizan, I want to thank the government for what the work they do for us up there. We get road, we get houses, we get light in the plain field in Boucherjou. It's a lot. You understand? All Grand Mall, roads, the Prime Minister and the government of Grenada give the people. A lot of people doesn't call and say thanks. But I want to say thanks on behalf of the government of Grenada, Caribbean Diplomatic. We have to be grateful for the things we get.
Yes. Yes, we do.
A lot to not say what I say because I don't know how long I'm going to this on. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody that is listening. Have a blessed day. And today we're shining in Grenada. Mr. Deputy, and season greetings to you, Mr. Watt, his wife, Zingo, my friends in New York and in England, Canada. We have a lot of sorry now and the green peas coming in slowly. Right? I just see the cast there and fish market. So it's not everything negative. All you hear they say about Grenada is true. There's a lot of good things that are happening. Right? Look at the people laughing at me. The good partner. Say good morning to Mr. Sammy, Say good morning to Sammy. The Grenville boss man.
Yeah.
And the rest of them guys. But there's a lot of things that is going on and happening for the people in this country. And I thank them for everything they have done for me and others. Right? I want to say good morning to the elderly people in the homes and in the prison and the doctors and nurses. Have a blessed day, Grenada. And Mr. Scott and Devon.
Yep.
Have a blessed day. When I get that bottle of Devon, you'll get you sorry.
Yes,
I have it home.
All right.
I boil it already.
Good.
Right?
All right, darling.
You there?
Yeah, there.
We hear you.
I tell you, what's going on when I forget all you. I remember you had a busting the bombs in coming up. I tell as the police and the commissioner to send people. You have people that have space maker in their hand and they jump in. You understand? They keep busting bombs there. All right. Have a blessed day.
All right, Cammy.
I'll sit down. All right. Bye-bye. Love you. All right.
Love you.
Everybody in America, you stay warm. Stay warm. Stay warm. Cathy and Cox. Have a good day. Stay warm in America. Bye-bye.
Right.
Hey, they want some good Grenadian bush.
Here's what Devon. Two things. I think there more than one cruise ship in today. Two.
Yeah, two.
So around 5,000 visitors is the figure I'm hearing. The possibility of 5,000 visitors. I know that I had to go up to the Willis area this morning, and in going up there, saw several guys going up. They load heavy, boy. Yeah, they load heavy. Heading up, some heading up the way to Granite Tank, some going to the waterfall, and so with the
some
tourists
going
and so
around
on.
the island, they have island tours.
Yeah, boy, the load was heavy. I see them moving this morning, and so I know they're looking at a little nice and thing there. Yeah, so I saw that this morning. One of the other things too is that Cammy keeps mentioning these firecrackers that the young people are throwing. Well, not only young people, it are some big hardback man and woman throwing it too. But I'll give you an experience I had with that a lot of Christmases ago, a lot of years ago. In fact, the bus terminus wasn't even there yet. It was still over in the market. That's to tell you how long this nonsense has been going on with these firecrackers and so.
It's now that ain't going on.
Yeah, but I remember over in the market, when you have to take a bus in the market, I was heading to a bus for Springs, and one individual threw the firecracker over a bus, and it exploded on the right side of my head. It just as it got to the level, it exploded right there. And what it did is that it took my hearing for 3 months. I couldn't hear anything on the right side. Up to this day, I still have problems sometimes hearing on that side, as you would realize. Sometimes I have problems hearing there. It took my hearing on the right side for 3 months, and it burned the right side of my face. So you have to be careful with this thing.
And you didn't know who do it.
Well, you didn't know who do it. I didn't even go in the hospital. I just go home, But it burned the right side of my face, and it took my hearing for 3 months.
It's a dangerous
You have to be careful. This thing is not a joke. This thing is not fun. This thing is a criminal offense. And in fact, in my view, anybody caught with it should be flogged. Well, they ain't like flogging. I believe in flogging still. Anybody caught with these things in their possession, much less throwing it, should be brought up to Richmond Hill Prison, shadowed and flogged. I know that they still flog people, but they should start back.
But in nowadays, I mean, I had my share of doing some of those things, but we were more responsible growing up back in those days with these things, right? We had different types of bombs and so, but we didn't go along trying to just bust bomb, around certain people. We used to do it. I mean, that's kids, but we need to be more responsible. We need to teach our young ones how to go about doing the dangers of these things and them, and hey,
we have to be careful. Firecrackers.
Yeah.
When we say bomb, remember we have visitors who might hear that and immediately say, "Well, me ain't coming off the boat." Firecrackers, yeah, because sometimes they hear. In speaking, sometimes you hear part of a statement and you hear the whole thing. So
they take it and run with it.
Yeah. So remember, it's firecrackers, scratch bombs, as we say. But all of us know when we're talking among ourselves, we know we're talking about scratch bomb, a firecracker, but firecrackers. So you have to be careful with this thing. I've known of situations where some guys put the scratch bomb inside a bottle, and that it damaged people. When it explodes, it's going to send the bottle all direction, and it damaged people. I've known of situations and worse yet, if that happens and it sends those glass objects into somebody's eye, or it sends a shard into their throat where it could kill them, cut a major artery or so. Suppose it cuts one of the artery on the inside of your leg, or it cuts a human being. Is an easy thing to die, It's not as difficult to kill a human being as you might think. One cut on the inside of the leg and that's it, you bleed to death. Or it takes one of the artery in your neck, and before you could get to medical attention, you bleed to death. or it goes to your eye and the things, or it perforates your eardrum, takes your hearing. So you have to be careful with these things. In fact, people should not be using those things at all.
It's illegal.
You should not have it in your possession, and you should not be encouraging people to use it. And anyone caught with it should be flogged. Nothing under 20 lashes.
It's illegal.
Lucky is not a magistrate, because believe me, all you come in front of me, flogging. Yeah.
I can't continue supporting things like that when it becomes, because I'll tell you, back in the day when we used to have this thing, the population was not that big, right? I mean, we were more responsible, but now these days you're feeling little responsibility by our young ones and adults, and so who should know better? I mean, it's not being displayed, so hey, it's dangerous. So it's against the law. When you get caught, you know what's going on with you. As you say,
flogging.
Don't get caught. It's not an easy thing to get flogged, right? For chewing a firecracker, Not an easy thing, eh? Let's see what. And Tamran whip, eh?
Man, Tamran whip. I'll forget how to make bull pistol out. Anyhow. Right, folks, 440-737. Yeah, man, NDA with some bull pistol. I don't mind. 440-737. That's 440-737.
347-329-3101. And what? Cathy and Depot, yeah, that was the beginning of my military experience. Learning how to make and throw these things at them. You understand?
Sorry, Devon. The beginning of Devon military experience was busting bamboo. That's why you go into artillery, because you used to bust bamboo, and they used to say Devon was one of the better fellas for busting bamboo, so you go into artillery.
But that's something I never really liked, eh?
Busting bamboo?
Yeah.
I bust real bamboo, yeah. I never lose my eyelash and thing to it. But
because of the closeness, you have to go, and so good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Good morning.
Sheldon,
hey.
I understand what you're saying, but listen to me. These children and these young guys that they're on the buses, the story thing, you have people that are scared. And I call on Shaggy and talk about it. I call on the commissioner to send police officers. I'm tired because you have people that are scared. You have tourists in the country visiting. Most of the time, they use the bus terminal to get buses to go to Grenville and to go to Granada. And when they let it go, people just run. People are scared. Okay? They always they ask them not to bring it in. Not to bring it in.
No, but it's illegal to bring it in.
They tell them don't bring it in. So if they on the whole them who throwing it, bring them by the people
Flog
that
them.
sell it for them and charge them. They've been telling them that over and over. Do not use that. It's dangerous. A little boy yesterday around 7 years called Shaggy and tell him about it. And they only do it yet. Why did they go on the other terminal? The other terminal where the boat coming in. There is not going to be anything there. Only here. And it's not right. When the police walk them up, they start to give the police all kind of bad names.
The police
and
will
say
do.
They are using them. The same people.
The police will
It's
do
not right.
what is necessary.
I
Believe
have no
me.
way. No. I have my way. I have no witnesses. But sometimes the police can't control it. They want to beat them. At the end of the terminal here, yes, I know what I'm talking about. Yes. All right.
Okay.
All right, Kami.
But what I don't know what it is I said that may have thing, but I am agreeing with you that some serious measures have to be taken in relation to this issue.
Very serious.
What has happened traditionally is that these firecrackers and other similar items were legal in Trinidad. So what was happening is that over the years, because remember I was talking about my incident when I lost my hearing in my right ear, would date back to the late 1990s, because that was when we used to have to take a bus in the Market Square, and it was a Christmas 2 days before Christmas. Yeah, I had a ringing, I had this ringing, and I couldn't hear anything for 3 months. Couldn't hear anything in that ear. And had the side of my face burnt. There were marks on the side of my face. And that was from one of these firecrackers that somebody threw. And these firecrackers traditionally came up from Trinidad. The guys and so on who coming up from Trinidad with the goods and so on, and that's why probably some closer inspection needs to be done on the port. Yeah, closer inspection, because it's the guys that coming up there that bring it. And also maybe some other means are used of bringing these things in, whichever way. The police would know where to look. But these things usually got in. Now, what has happened now, which is why I think come next year, we may see a slightly different situation, is that they have now been outlawed in Trinidad as of last month. Firecrackers. So they have to get rid of what they have right now. They give them a time frame to get rid of it, but they ban it. So it's no longer legal to have them in Trinidad. Yeah? So they got rid of it there. And I think that would exponentially affect the amount that we get here in Grenada. Once Trinidad remains the major market where we got it from because it was legal there, that eventually we'll get to the stage where you won't have much of it here. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Whoa, something is wrong with your phone today, Doc. I'm not hearing you properly. Hello? Doc, you might have to hang up and call us back because we can't hear you.
You really can't get it at all.
Yeah, you got to hang up and call us back. Yeah. I make out it's you, but I can't hear you properly there. Yeah, you'll have to give us a call. I wonder if that's him calling back already. Let's see. All right.
Good morning.
No, let me see. Doc, no, it's still the same way. It's sounding extremely muffled. So we can't make out what you're saying.
Barely hear you.
Yeah. Probably have to use a different phone and call us, or Flo might have to pass by and check your phone there. Yeah. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. So Devon,
3473. You know, Deepo made a serious point there. How come in the 4.5 years in the revolution we never had that problem?
Yeah, Hopeville wasn't incarceration but productive custody. I ain't taking part in that. I can't see what enjoyment you're gonna get from doing that, to be honest with you. I've never been a person to have a set of this thing and going and throwing at people and laughing and that kind of thing.
A lot of it in all the time. But again, we were more responsible.
In Trinidad as a kid, two set of things. In fact, back in my days, the firecracker wasn't even much of a thing anyway. What we do, you bust bamboo, and you hope somebody ain't stupid enough to try and bust bamboo with gasoline. Well, you know it's kerosene. Yeah, that guys was that stupid.
Well, there are guys that do it right now still with gas and everything.
One of the dumbest things to do.
Yeah, it's
so you're busting bamboo with gasoline. You better don't have no hair on your head and your face, because if you do, you wouldn't after you finish, if you're alive. And I've known guys that actually caught a fire like that and totally scarred for life through that nonsense.
I see men do so, you know, no hair in the face. You know?
Yeah.
All the eyebrow,
it's traditional. It's traditional, but you have to do it safely. And there's this thing we call carbide, which you would put in a pan and you have a little hole to the back, and you put the carbide, you spit on it or you wet it, and then you put your fire to the back because it used to create hydrogen gas. Can't remember what the chemical was. It was a blocker thing. Used to have a sulfuric smell to it, and you would wet it, and it starts to give off a gas that's explosive. And then you put your little stick to the back of the pan, and boom, and you see the front of the tin pitch out and that sort of thing. So that was what we used to do, but still, you didn't used to do that.
Dangerous thing too.
But you didn't used to do that aimed at people or so. You find a little area at the side of the road away from people, and you go and you bust in your bamboo and you do that kind of thing.
We are more responsible when we are doing that, right? We'll go away from population and so on, have fun, because we used to have to hide to do most of these things. Now it's becoming, like, it's
flogging.
Yeah,
I believe in flogging.
I believe in that too.
It's a deterrent.
Yeah,
some people say it's a holdover to slavery. I believe sometimes it's a deterrent.
I don't be so why are you trying to tell me that when you hold your child and give your child a good spanking, it's something? I mean, that's wrong.
There's a whole other dimension.
I mean,
there's a whole other dimension.
But
that's
another discussion.
In between, though, we've been discussing election 2018.
Onwards.
And as I said, I think it was one of the more calm elections. And it was. I think that the New National Party did an excellent campaign. Well organized campaign. The NDC, they did their campaign, and the thing is that they focused on attacking members of the New National Party team, even members who were not candidates. Naz, you had the ad on media still?
Sad.
The xenophobic ad that was saying I'm not Grenadian, run me out of Grenada kind of thing. That was this for those of you that didn't, that was the kind of ads that NDC was actually doing during the election campaign.
We were not candidates in that election.
I was laughing all the way.
we had fun too, you know.
Okay, it was so nonsensical. Yeah. I mean, especially some of my friends who have known me over 20 years now. They know me here. And they were like, well, what do these people are there? They are nothing better. And I mean, some of them are actually NDC supporters. I was saying, well, what nonsense is that? The party are nothing better to say than this stupidness and so on. Now, come on, man. Are they losing focus?
But, you know.
That sort of nonsense. And then somebody just negative. Every time they went onto a platform, it was to attack the character of an individual. And they spent no time in saying what they would develop. Because we've said before, Devon, they specialize in destruction, not in building. Yeah, they specialize in destruction.
They need a vision.
Yeah.
They don't have that.
Even at this stage, you still have the situation where they're still focused on destruction. So they think that by some of the things they're saying and some of the things they're doing, like for instance, they create their fake profile, and they've created a fake profile. And I could tell you the fake profile come from right in St. George. And I could tell you exactly where in St. George it comes from. And they're trying to make that fake profile look as though it is a fake profile controlled by me. Yeah, so they take the first name of one of my children's mother and they put it as the first name. And then they put up the coat of arms of Trinidad. Obvious, they're trying to say this is Sheldon Scott that's doing this. And then they put up a lot of fake stories about things that they claim are happening within the New National Party that nobody knows about. And then they play like they're attacking the NDC at the same time to try and make it look as though I am using a fake profile to attack the party to which I belong. Because for some reason, they have some sort of fixation with me. And I often tell people like the Randall Robinsons and the Dum Dum and them, this sort of thing. They have some sort of fixation with me. But I have no fixation with them. Yeah? So they do these sort of things.
I love women.
I ain't interested in men. If they're interested, that's their business. But I ain't interested in them. So at the end of the day, what we have to focus on is how do we build and move forward. You have not heard the National Democratic Congress ever hold a press conference and say we wish to congratulate the government of Grenada, the new National Party administration, on having built the National Stadium, or repaired roads in this particular area, or built a road where there was no road before. You look at the road, Munich area there, that there was no proper road before that. There's a road, motorable road right now. Yeah? You look at some of the different work that has been done infrastructurally. Yeah? The fact that the party was able to come in and engage thousands upon thousands of young people through the Imani program and now the Empower program and the Hope program and so on. And then you have this other program, there's the Fly program that's going on in communities and so on. To certify people as well up to the level of the CVQ, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, that the government has been able to do that the government has been able to spend over $100 million on public sector workers. Yeah? And that's in pay raise and so on and study and all of these things. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Yes,
morning.
Good morning, sir.
Is this the CRFM?
Yeah, you're live on the program.
Yeah, just a question I have.
Yeah.
In relation to the ring road that was promised previously, ring road around the hospital area.
Mm-hmm.
What's the position with that? Would they be pursuing that project?
That ring road was destroyed during the period 2008 to 2013. It was part of a wider project that was being put forward by Zublin. And Zublin met some serious resistance during that point in time because it wasn't the government of Grenada going to do that ring road. It would have been part of the same cruise project. Remember, the cruise port was done by Zublin. Yeah? So it was supposed to have been part of that. But then one government went in, the other government came in, and they were not in agreement with doing that particular project. So that's where that went. I know why you're asking that now, because I saw the traffic, and I know what coming next week. So it would have been perfect to have that now. So I think it's something that needs to be looked at again. Yeah? Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, it's something that I think we need to look at again. It's
I also
important.
want you to expound on the fact, in relation, I know the issue now is a bread and butter issue.
Yeah.
And be straightforward with us. I know the government had agreed in there, well, I know it's being negotiated now, that they had revisited what the union is required or asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Parliamentarians would have benefited from a 20%, if I stand corrected. And why is that not being extended to the workers? No. And why it was not looked at as a possibility or considered?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Now, I think what we're looking at here is apples and oranges. One, you cannot measure a person who every 5 years has to go back and beg for the job to a person who nearly unfireable. Public servants, one of the hardest things to do is to get somebody out of the public service of Grenada. You make a complaint, and by the time that goes to the Public Service Commission, and even when the Public Service Commission issues a final judgment on that, that person has the right to appeal. And then they would appeal and so on. So sometimes you have a matter that might be before the Public Service Commission as a complaint for years. By the time sometimes that complaint comes to the person is retired and out the service already. Yeah? So it is one of the most difficult things. That's why generally discipline takes the form of, and this is something I don't agree with, but it usually takes the form of shifting a person from Ministry A to Ministry B, or position A to position B, because it's extremely difficult to discipline persons otherwise. You've had situations where, yes, people have been disciplined or so, but it is one of the most difficult things to fire a public servant. Yeah? Because what they are gauged, they have like permanent employment. The unions protect that, everything protects that. What union protects the parliamentarians, the 15 parliamentary representatives? There's no union to protect them. They have no union representing them. They have to go every 5 years if they're lucky. And in some instances, it has been as short as 3 years that they have to go and ask for the job back.
The union is the people.
They have to go to the people and ask for the job back. The people who are within the permanent service, because what we're speaking about here right now is the established staff. There's still not the elephant in the room, but a pink rhinoceros in the room right now. That is the unestablished staff within the government service that we're not discussing yet, but with the established staff, the people who are contracted, who are working with the government of Grenada on a permanent basis. These individuals do not have to go every 3 years or 4 years or 5 years and ask for their job. And as well, every year they benefit from salary increases at the same time. Every year. They may negotiate it retroactively, or they may negotiate it for the years to come. As in the instance what this Public Workers Union and Grenada Union of Teachers and so on have done, they negotiated futuristically. So they negotiated for a 3% salary increase in the year 2017, which they got. So they got an increase of 3%. They got an increase of 3% in the year 2018, that's this year. And in a few days' time, as of January the 1st, their salaries go up by a further 4%. So they negotiated 10% increase over a 3-year period. Look throughout the Caribbean and see if you find another instance of that happening. But these unions, the same unions that are saying the government don't care and so now, negotiated salary increases of 10% over the last 3 years. 3, 3, 4. So 6 and 4, 10. Right? At least I could count that, right? That teacher didn't fail me with maths with that one. They have already sent, the Public Workers Union and Grenada Union of Teachers, have already sent to the government of Grenada their notification for the beginning of talks for salary increases for the year 2020, 2021, and 2022. So they are going to negotiate now. Before, unions used to go and negotiate, and they would negotiate in 2013 for 2013, 2012, 2011. We're past that stage now. They're negotiating forward. So they're negotiating now. And remember, when they get their salary increases, the people who are receiving pensions get the same increases. So they get the 334, so they get the 10% as well. Yeah? Parliamentarians do not receive. In fact, I believe what should have been happening is that when that happens, the parliamentarians also receive the 3% or the 4% or whatever. But that has not been happening. So parliamentarians have been basically stagnant for an extended period of time. But then you're looking at 15 people, and I'm just looking at the parliamentary representatives, the ones who are representing a constituency. I'm not even looking at the Senate yet. The parliamentary representatives, you're speaking roughly about 15 people. And these 15 people and the salaries that they earn in each instance, including the instance of who holds the office of Prime Minister, is below what the person next in line to them, the permanent secretary in the ministry, receives. And this has happened because over the years, when other public servants receive their increases, the permanent secretary also receives an increase. Yeah. So it has gotten to the stage that their salaries have passed those of the ministers that they are responsible to. Yeah? You're not saying cut the permanent secretary's salaries. You're saying make the minister's salaries equivalent to that. But when it comes to the gratuities, the government ministers receive their gratuities at the end of their stint in Parliament because you're not sure that you're going back to Parliament. You're not sure that you're going to be getting a job again or anything like that. You're not sure.
It's something that you have to...
And in instances like what happened in 2008, you had to look for jobs basically outside the country. If you end up with a government that's going to be vindictive and decides that, no, we're going to pressure this person, you have to have some sort of income there. And it was done back in, I believe, 1985 or so. It was done in that way to ensure that parliamentarians did not find themselves involved in wrongdoing, to try and feather the nest for when they leave office. They say, well, okay, I put aside that set of money, I run a deal here, and I put aside that set of money. That is the reason it was done in that way, so that at the end of their time, if it's a mortgage they have to pay, if it's some bill they have to pay, and many parliamentarians have benefited from that. Yeah, in the case of Honorable Alvin Dabrio, which is he took $25,000 out of it and he did the lights in one of the areas in St. John. He did the lights in the playing field there. So in many instances, that same money goes back into the community and that sort of thing. But in addition to that, you're speaking here about 15 people. When you're speaking of the public service and that 20% or 25%, you're speaking about a couple thousand people. Yep. So you can't measure it the same way. There's not the same strain on the finances of the country for 15 people as compared to a couple thousand. Because if you look at the Ministry of Legal Affairs alone, and some of the people appointed by the Judicial and Legal Services Committee, and the salaries that these individuals are earning, plus all the permanent secretaries, plus other senior people like senior police officers, and so on, and the salary levels that they are getting, which in some instances are more than parliamentarians are getting.
Easy.
At the end of the day, if you apply the 20% principle there, it's going to be difficult to manage. Believe me, it's going to be, you're speaking thousands of people as opposed to 15.
Oil money can't pay for that, no?
Yeah, you're speaking thousands of people as opposed to 15. Now, no one is saying that you wouldn't arrive at 25%, or you wouldn't arrive at 20%, or you wouldn't even arrive at 50% in years to come. And this is the argument that everybody keeps running away from. The issue is not the 25% at all, you know. The issue is the 25% at this time. No one is saying that people are not deserving. Nobody is saying that people should not get. The discussion now is that, yes, you're deserving. Yes, you should get. But can you get it right now? You come to me and you say you want $40. I know it's only 20 I have in my pocket. And if I give you the 20, I can't reach home. So I say, listen, I could give you 10, But you say, no, it's 40 I want. Yeah, I know that the possibility might be next week I might be able to give you a 40. Or in January or February I could give you a $40, but I just cannot do it right now. And as much as you try to force me and tell me you want that $40 right now, the only answer I can give you is, hey, you could get 10. The most I might do is give you 15 and walk home.
You know, another thing, Sheldon, one of the things that a lot of people still have the impression that what the unions or the teachers are fighting for is a raise of pay.
No, it's not.
Right? Or some, you know, and I'm trying to understand where do they get the notion from again to when you have organizations who are not disseminating correct information to the members and so, and their understanding about the issue is not clear, then you have all sorts of bonding. A lot of people, right, still have the opinion that, look, the teachers are fighting for a raise of pay, a 25% raise of pay, and the government not giving them, but instead they want to raise the pay for politicians and this and I mean,
not raise a salary is a totally different issue. Already, it's been agreed, and they have received their 10% over the 3 years, and now they're going to negotiate during next year for 2020, 2021, 2022. They've already written the government for that. I think we have a call on that.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. Just inquiring again, would that intended salary increase for politicians, would they be paid a retroactive pay, which is customarily the case in the public service? And I also want Mr. Scott also to correct himself by including police in his comments, and I don't think that is correct. Thank you.
Yeah? You should check the salary range as superintendents, commissioner, and so on, with that of a parliamentary secretary or junior minister, and I would be correct. Yeah, I would be correct. It's around the same range when you check it out. Yeah? So it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. It's around that same range. The COP, DCP, like Deputy Commissioner of Police and that sort of thing. You check the salary range there, and you check with a junior minister, or you check with a parliamentary secretary. It's about the same thing, right? But you're asking about retroactively. I don't know that would be done retroactively. I don't believe it would be done retroactively. Yeah, recommendations have been made, and there's a committee that's set up. It's not the Prime Minister or Minister got up today and just decide, I want a salary raise and this is what I want. A committee was set up. The committee has made a recommendation. It does not mean that immediately parliamentarians receive a raise in salary. Yeah, it does not mean so. There's a recommendation that's on the table that this is what ought to be. This is what ought to take place. If you look at other islands, yeah, you look at other islands and you realize what obtains, as I said, in Jamaica, for instance. Each of the parliamentarians who live outside of St. George would have been receiving an additional stipend to maintain a home within St. George, so that when you have to go to Parliament and you have to go to the ministry, that you're able to do that easily. And then you have one outside. You have your home in the parish, and you have one in the capital as well. We don't have that sort of thing here in Grenada. In fact, our parliamentarians, their entire thing, they receive, people talk about they receive a set of benefits and that sort of thing. If you really look at what parliamentarians here receive as benefits compared to what some in some other countries receive, it's a joke. It is a joke. And some people are saying, well, they're getting a pile of money, they're getting... No, they don't. In Trinidad, they get a credit card with a certain limit, whether it's 30,000 US or 20,000, whatever it is. They have a certain limit on the credit card that they are allowed to use when they travel and that sort of thing. Here in Grenada, when you travel, it's your credit card using your money. You get a little stipend according to where it is you're going and what business you're going on, and so you get your little stipend that is next to nothing. Basically, you could buy a hamburger and a soft drink when you reach somewhere. And you're basically using your money. You're using your credit card.
And hope government reimburse.
No, it has no reimbursement there. No, reimbursement is not part of it. You're using your money. No reimbursement. You can't bring nothing in for that. That's your money you're using. Yeah? you would receive a little something for a stipend for when you're traveling. They call it the per diem for when you're traveling. But the per diem, sometime by the time you buy a hot dog and a soft drink, that done. Or you take a taxi to go, that done. Yeah? So that is the situation. The benefits that accrue in the private sector are much more than what accrues within the public service. And again, it goes back to what was discussed in 1985 when they put in place the gratuity and so on for the people within who serve in Parliament for 2 consecutive terms, or the gratuity at the end of the 5-year period. Now, what has happened there is that you also wanted to stem brain drain. You didn't want an individual who could work for 3 and 4 times that amount of money in the private sector or in a next country to leave. If that's the best person, suppose you have a mind, a person who is absolutely brilliant when it comes to economics, and you would like to see that person as a minister of finance. You'd like that person in your country. You want that person here. But that person gets a job in some foreign agency and decides that they're gone. Because at the end of the day, they say, okay, I have my family to take care of. Love my country, but I have my family to take care of. I have bills to pay. So I can't stay and work for the salary that you're going to give me as a government minister. And then after you give me the salary as a government minister, you're going to have all sorts of organizations, groups, and individuals that are going to approach me to take the majority of it. Yeah. And I still have my bills to pay, and I still have my family to see about. It's best I just work in the private sector where nobody can come and ask me for anything. Or even better, I work outside of Grenada where definitely nobody would be coming and asking me anything. All my money is mine. No, you're going to suffer from brain drain. So you have to make it something that people want to become involved in, even though it might be a little less still than the private sector, but that they say, okay, I'm willing to take the little pay cut and work there. There are individuals who are in government right now that their salary went down by becoming ministers. I'll point out one, Honorable Oliver Joseph. He was a permanent secretary in the government service. Huh? You know, Honorable Oliver Joseph was a permanent secretary. I think he was in foreign affairs at the time.
For foreign trade or foreign
affairs. Yeah. And what he was working for as the permanent secretary was more than he's working for now as a minister. When he was the permanent secretary, he was working for a higher salary than he's working for now as a parliamentarian, as a member of parliament for St. David. And nobody used to go to him as permanent secretary and say, P.S. Gas done. P.S. Christmas coming up, I want to do some groceries. P.S. Grenlec pass and cut off my electricity. P.S. Nawasa pass and cut off my water. Nobody used to pass and say P.S. that, you know. But as minister, every day you're getting it. Every day you're getting it. So you understand why they had to put in the gratuity and these sort of things. You don't want your best minds to leave. You want them to stay. And the NDC would be hypocritically realize they're very quiet on this issue. Because Tillman Thomas is benefiting from that right now. Nazim Burke would be benefiting from that right now. Yep. In fact, all of those who spent the full time as parliamentarians after the 2008 general election, they would have gotten their gratuity and that sort of thing. There were one or two that had the little issues. I think Mr. Burke had the little issue with the tax thing between himself and government and so on. So you had those that had the little issues. But the majority of them, they got their gratuity. Nobody made a fuss about it or cried and said anything. And at that time, when they got their gratuity, there was no discussion about making sure that public workers get gratuity. The same people who are making noise right now, some of them got their gratuity.
Not even not even pension discussion.
Yeah, they didn't make any noise about public workers not getting a gratuity too, or public workers not getting a pension. Have you heard former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas talking about the issue of pension and gratuity?
Not I can recall.
He getting pension now, innit?
Of course.
Yeah. And parliamentarians, contrary to popular belief, parliamentarians do not, after spending 2 terms, they do not immediately get a pension. yeah, they do not immediately get a pension. You have several who would qualify for a pension right now. Like, for instance, Honorable Emlyn Pierre. She would qualify for a pension right now. She qualifies but cannot receive until she attains the age of 55, I think it is. So she have a long way to go because she's a young lady that day. 55. None of the parliamentarians, Honorable Roland Bowler, he can't access any pension, even though he's not a parliamentarian. Now he has spent, I think it's 3 or 4 terms as a parliamentarian. He still has to wait until the age of 55 before he can get a pension. He ain't getting no pension right now.
There are some of the
He doesn't qualify for it, right? He qualifies for it, but he cannot receive it. No. Yeah, you're saying?
Yeah, there are some of the politicians who, when they enter politics, they might have entered politics in the 50s, perhaps, and so on, and they might spend 2 terms, and so they automatically qualify for pension because they have passed the age of 55, and so. But those who, the younger politicians just getting in, and so by the time they reach the age of 45, they do the 2 terms, 3 terms, and they still have to wait another 10 years before they can get a pension from government.
For instance, Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis,
even
by the time that a next election is due, she'll still be in her 30s.
She'll still be in her 30s.
And
she's far away
we know
from
she will
55.
win. So she will win in 5 years from now, and she spent her next 5 years again qualifying for a pension, but she still had to wait
Honorable Emlyn
nearly
Pierre,
20 years.
Delma Thomas, Keita Lewis. I mean, all of them, they have to wait a long time before they could.
There's this false belief that as soon as you complete your 2 terms, you're getting your pension. That is not true. You have to get to the age. The same as public workers have to wait until they get to 60 to start receiving their pension and gratuity. The same way the parliamentarians have to wait until they get to the age of 55 before they receive their pension. So I hope this makes it a little clearer for a lot of people, because there's a lot of misinformation being thrown out there, and there's a reason that gratuities and so were given to the parliamentarians. That time was the cabinet of the late Herbert Blaise, would have been the late Herbert Blaise. So you'd have had people like Tillman Thomas in there, you'd have people like Dr. Francis Alexis inside there, you'd have had people like Dr. Michel, George Brizan inside there, Ben Jones inside there. So you'd have had all these different individuals inside there. And it was thought that, look, listen, the best way for us to get bright, intelligent people to remain in Grenada and want to become leaders, want to become parliamentary representatives, to properly serve the constituents and so on, and not... Dr. Mitchell didn't have to become involved in all of this. He could have stayed and lectured at university and be making 5 and 6 times what he's making right now. He could have stayed and lectured at university. He didn't need to do this. He's giving selflessly.
He'd be surely making much more money than he's making presently.
With none of the headache.
None of the headache.
No, that's something I wonder, Doc, where does they call that headache for?
But sacrifice.
The love of the country, huh?
Yeah, sacrifice. When you build to sacrifice, to make a contribution towards not just yourself or your family, but to a nation, it takes a lot. And so, to give out all of that, because the value of what is being given out by you, the individual, cannot be replaced. Money cannot replace that. Because you're talking about time, your family time, you're giving up. Time that you have to spend with your children and your mother and sisters, and so you dedicate that time to the wider population.
Devon,
so
I think some people think that being a parliamentarian is so much of a nice thing. You have to be a person that's willing to give up a lot.
Yeah, and love.
I don't know who likes going to the UK. I hate it. I hate that long flight where you leave Grenada and you're going to the dark and you reach there in the next morning and that kind of thing. And you're on a plane and it's like you're cooped up. And so, and imagine parliamentarians have to go through this. And then when you get there, sometimes by the time you get there, it's not like you have time to go and take a nap and things. Sometimes you get there just in time to head straight to a meeting. And by the time you complete meeting number 1, you have meeting number 2. You don't reach into the hotel until in the evening or the next day. And by the time you get to the hotel, it's to change and come to some function for the night time. And you don't really get to rest. It's not like you get to go to the UK and then you're going on sightseeing and you get to go and see Big Ben. I've been to the UK about 6 or 7 times. I never see Big Ben yet. It's not like you're getting to go and see Big Ben and see this and see that and so on. When you get there, you're going to work.
Yeah, definitely.
You're going to work. Yeah, so it's not like you hear, oh, the Prime Minister has gone to Indonesia. If you got to go to Indonesia, you go in and see all kind of, I don't know what sites and things they are. No, it's work. And then they put you under so much security too that you can't even get to go out and see nothing. So it's just work.
But the contribution of our politicians, right, and so could be measured too with the contribution of our teachers and our public servants, and so because they have to. I mean, it's a 24-hour job, non-stop. You can be a 8 to 4 politician, just like you can be a 8 to 4 teacher or public servant. It's a service that you have to be dedicated to.
But you see, that's the other thing, because that has always been the argument when I've heard some of the individuals, Sheldon Scott used to leave he work and go on hard talk. No, there's no set time. If anyone can pull any document and show me, be it the Constitution of Grenada, some sort of parliamentary guideline, some sort of ministerial guideline, some sort of even guidelines by the political organization to which I belong, the New National Party, or any organization, even a Commonwealth organization, a United Nations organization, a space organization, whatever you could bring, to show that a Grenadian parliamentarian has hours of work. There's no such thing. It's a nonsensical, idiotic argument by individuals that had nothing better to do with their time. There is no such thing as an hours of work that you have to be in office between 8 and 4. It doesn't exist. It's just an idiotic argument. Because are you saying that somebody goes to Honorable Nicholas Steele and he's going to say, well, okay, it's after 4, don't call me? You think somebody would go to the Honorable Peter David 7 o'clock in the morning, they call him on an issue, and he go just answer the phone and say, call me back 8 o'clock, I start to work 8 o'clock? That ain't happening. You're always working 24/7. Pedro answer any phone 5 o'clock in the morning.
You don't have a choice.
Honorable Nicholas Steele wants the phone ring and he hear it, he gonna answer. Because you are 24/7, 365. I remember the first Christmas I spent in Parliament. I remember on Christmas Day, there were a couple of guys that were messaging me, and I felt it for them. It was Christmas Day. And you know, you're a little annoyed, and then you say, oh, but I understand why they're doing it on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, it was some guy's message, and they were asking about the Imani program and how could they get into the Imani program. And in my mind, I understood why. It's Christmas Day and probably they didn't have anything. They probably didn't have anything. And they see that as the only means to not repeat that the following year. And they see you as a person they could approach on the issue, and they approach you. They ain't studying this Christmas Day or anything. They say that maybe the day I might be able to get him. Yeah. And they message you, you can't be upset. You can't be upset about it.
Because as a politician, you get there to serve, to help as much persons as you can. That's the nature of your job. Whatever assistance that they need, you try your best to give them assistance. Not every time that you would succeed, but you make an effort, and so to do your best. That's all the people are asking you to do. Do your best as a politician. Serve us. We don't expect to be a perfect being, and so you will make mistakes, right? But you have to continue to try to do better, and so on. And I think some of our politicians has lived up to that, right? Within our country, there are some again who have just, come there just to be a politician, just for the name of it, just to make the money, whatever. But a majority of our politicians here in Grenada have served, and served well, all right? There are some you can't say that about them. Some of them has just been disgraceful. Some of them, but you'll find that in human beings and so. But as I said earlier on, I always equate the politician and the teachers and the public worker and so as persons who provide a service to the nation that you cannot put hours to. Right? You cannot. put hours to. It's a service that the nation needs, and they are there to provide it.
So when you have a regional meeting here in Grenada, and you as a minister are chairing that meeting, and it goes up until 8, 9 in the night and that sort of thing, we're supposed to put in a bill for overtime? No, I'm asking. If I'm traveling on government business and it means that I have to be on the airport by 5 a.m. to go through and get onto a flight to head to Barbados or Trinidad to connect to go wherever I have to go, does it mean I send in a bill for overtime for
3 hours?
The 5 a.m. to before, the 3 hours before.
3 hours overtime.
Yeah, I send in a bill for that? No, you don't. But people don't look at it that direction. They just say, well, parliamentarians gain at 20% at the end of 4 years or 5 years. Yeah? There are reasons behind it. And if people are willing to open their eyes, be honest, and be realistic and be factual, they'll see that there's not any disparity there.
But what you're saying, one of our problems is that we hear things, right, and we just take it at face value. But when you start digging into the realities of it, the more information you get, the details of, okay, yes, parliamentarians are getting this and so, but what does that entail? When you break it down and people say, okay, no, but no, they should be getting more, even the teachers, public workers. And so, but it's just that you can't just look at things just so and just judge. You have to get the details and work it out for yourself. In my view, the salaries of the average person in this country, should be hiked, in my view, by how much percent. But can the country afford it? Right? Can the economic situation in our country afford, right, to have that sort of salaries? And so when it comes to government, can government do that? How would government raise the money to increase and even pay salaries? All these things must be taken into consideration. It's not just about, I work for how much years and this and that, and you want this. No, you can't get it because you've been working long, or you think you're entitled for it. There has to be conditions. The right conditions has to be right.
So when we're talking about these things, so let's find out. Honorable Tillman Thomas, he got right?
What
gratuity.
Yeah.
Getting his pension.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about the gentleman that Delma beat there?
Walker. Yeah.
The gas station man there.
Qualis.
Gratuity.
Yeah, gratuity.
He was a one-term parliamentarian, yeah.
Yeah, but
I think there were some tax issues there.
Yeah, so perhaps he been figuring that out with government.
Patrick Simmons would have got his 70-something thousand.
Gratuity.
Yeah. 70-something thousand or 80-something thousand.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Franca Bernardine.
Franca Bernardine is a senator. Glenn Noel.
Well, not just a senator. Remember, senators within the NDC would have been at full ministerial salary because they carried ministerial portfolios. So in her instance, she would have received a 70-something thousand as well. And because she was there for the full period of time, right?
Yeah.
Ann David.
Yeah.
Not Ann David. Ann Peters.
Ann Peters.
Yeah, she would have been the Minister of Health.
Yeah.
For not the entire period of time, because you had Mr. Carl Hood for a period of time. So, but Ann Peters would have received gratuity as well.
Again, a couple of them well.
Yeah, a couple of people well. Glenn Noel, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn Noel.
Yeah, he knows well that he did get his gratuity. Yeah, he knows very well.
The people I know who get theirs first now. But I know there was a lot of rumblings and tumblings, to get what is duly theirs, But that's how it is. That's how it is. But I think, and I really want to be really honest, politicians within our country, right, honestly, they are not paid enough to do the job that they're supposed to do. And I'm being very honest about that.
I don't think anything is wrong with parliament. Not I don't think. I know that there's nothing wrong with parliamentarians receiving any increases at this point in time. And what I would have done is tie it in as well that anytime the public servants are to get increased, parliamentarians are to get 2%.
Exactly.
So if the public servants gain 3%, the parliamentarians get 3%.
Gain at 3%.
If the public servants gain 10%, the parliamentarians gain 10%. So then the parliamentarians will have to say 5, 6, 7 years down the road, we have to take an increase again. Public workers gain, let the parliamentarians get it at the same time. From now on.
You eliminate those conditions, you know.
Fix it right now, and then you have that attached to it. We're discussing what we're discussing, all right.
And honestly,
discussing for everybody.
I think over the last number of years, on returning to government, I think Dr. Mitchell has been making that effort to right a lot of things that we have been doing the wrong way for a number of years. Since after independence, right? And he has been, together with his team, has been making a concerted effort to change things, to make it compatible to our present day living. And this government must be commendable. And if you look at the public workers, teachers, and so in particular, trying to better the working and living standard of our public servants, those who are contributing, right, every day towards the development. I mean, all of us are contributing, but there are some that has to be, pulled out they have to go the extra mile. They don't have a choice, They have to go the extra mile. Good morning and welcome. Oh, apparently we lost that caller.
Yeah, maybe they changed their mind.
Chris, don't ask me about NDC confusion. I know about a convention. I have no idea.
I can tell you when NNP convention is for 2019, though.
Ask me about NNP, right, at that. Don't ask me about NDC. That was gone are the days.
I say I could, but I wouldn't. But I could tell you when NNP convention is for next year. No, the NNP don't have them kind of issues there. We cool. We good.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon to London.
It's interesting, though, that some people are seeing the only way for them to win an election being, one, Dr. Mitchell not to be involved at all, or two, the NNP falling apart.
Yeah. Oh, it have chaos
so it has
in
to
the
be.
country.
It has number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
So it has to be some sort of destruction or negative has to happen for a positive to happen for them. It's like the people that want your house to burn down so that theirs going to be the nicest one around for Christmas. Yeah, then that's how I could describe it. They want your house burned for them to. They say, you see, we nice curtain. They say, but your neighbor house burning here. But watch me nice curtain. Mm-hmm. We have a caller online.
Good morning and welcome.
What? Talking the decorating business now. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, my friend.
To your listening audience. Good program, so as usual. Now, listen to this. This government is the worst government for workers in Grenada. They have been the longest serving government in the last 25 years. Listen to that, the worst government for workers. But today, listen, this present impasse tells us a lot about Grenada. Just imagine, our present industrial impasse is not about redundancies. It is not about retrenchment. It is not about a raise of pay. It is not about maternity leave. It is not about pension. It is about a 25% cash advance upon, 25% advance of one pension upon retirement. Mr. Scott and Devon, I find that tells us a lot about how far workers have come in Grenada and how far the country have come. Because when you look at what is taking place in other countries, what workers is fighting for. None of these is what's on the agenda for workers presently. So apparently all of this is intact, except all what could be asked for presently is a 25% cash advance of one pension. Mr. Scott, how you cannot tell me straight up that Grenada is one of the best places in this world to live? Gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
Have a pleasant day, my friend.
Let's just look at the industrial climate in countries next to us. Because as I said, there are some people that are deluding themselves. The same people who were telling you that the NDC was going to win 13 of the seats, and that St. Mark was leaning that what? They needed 6 votes to close in on Dr. Mitchell in St. George, Northwest, and that sort of thing. The same people that were on radio and TV and on the internet saying that sort of stuff, I was going to say nonsense, but anyway, that sort of stuff, I was going to say diatribe nonsense, but I'll just say stuff. The same people who were saying that sort of stuff last year around this time and early this year are the same ones that are telling you right now that the new National Party is in trouble. Because they are basing their argument on the fact that there is now a back and forth between the unions and the government. But they have to understand that the reason there's a back and forth is because, one, this government decided to joke the ants' nest. Who get bite, get bite. But this government decided that the ants' nest was resting there too long, and it's time that public workers get a proper pension. This government decided that. Not the NDC. They had the opportunity. They didn't do it. This NNP administration decided to address the issue. This administration decided that they would not have challenged the Hermelin, and don't think that they couldn't have challenged the Hermelin-Armstrong case and probably even won. This government could have challenged the Hermelin-Armstrong case. It did not. Now they get tied up in the court system. Then you'd say, well, we can't pay a pension now. No, we can't deal with that now because this is a legal matter. It's before the courts, and so it's going to the Privy Council. We'll have that discussion somewhere in the year 2022. This government could have done that. They said, no, let us take the bull by the horns and deal with this particular issue of pensions and gratuity. Yeah? So while there may be a conflict as to the formula, while there may be a conflict as to the timing and the ability to do certain aspects at this time, there's a discussion going on. And this is the government that started that discussion. And the unions still see this as the only government that dealt with the issue and is dealing with the issue. They may not be fully satisfied with the way that it's being dealt with. I can't speak for them. I can't speak for the unions. But this is still the government that's doing it for them. Yep. And the mere fact that they keep making, in my view, unreasonable demands on the government and continue to do it is because they see this government as capable of doing superhuman things.
And you
so
know,
that is why they're asking them to do superhuman things.
And as negotiators, I don't blame them for asking for the most that they can get.
But they negotiating.
You understand? I mean,
because you can't negotiate and you just have one position. And you ain't changing that one position. We want that, and that's it. So that's not negotiation. In my view. It's not negotiation.
Well, they have a demand. And so, but here, you know what? It's a government that is always open to discussion, right? Whether it's in the night, whether it's in the day, right? Whether it's on a boat, whatever. Once it's discussion for the betterment of this country, Dr. Mitchell and his team is always open to that. That is why Grenada is so peaceful. It's always the best country to live in, right? Because there's always an opportunity to solve problems through negotiations. That is where we came from. We came from, I mean, yes, Grenada is a country that had, so much times, different types of turmoil and so, but we have graduated.
I'm looking right now, Devon, for a release that was sent out by the government of Grenada in relation to the pension issue, but for some reason, it's not in my email. I'm looking for that message that was sent out because I wanted to read it on air before we come off here. Mr. Technical Man, you have it somewhere around? That release that was sent out yesterday evening, the pension issue. I didn't get an email with it. I saw it online, but I'm trying to remember where I saw it online.
I saw it in a page here. Good morning, Lorraine, and how you doing? Have a wonderful day, my dear.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can get that to read it because tomorrow they will be having another meeting. The unions asked government to provide certain information. You forwarded it on which one? On where?
And you see
where you forwarded it on.
Okay. And you see that is what we've been saying. Look, what you're supposed to be doing first, we now resorting to it.
Yeah.
Right? So, gather your information and come prepared and make a solid argument to what you want to do.
But let me ask, the unions don't have anybody with any technical competency? Because what I'm saying this is that, okay, let me read this and then I'll get into that. Government today responded to the pension proposal submitted by the public sector, trade unions and staff associations. Following the intervention by the then acting Minister of Labour, Honourable Anthony Boson, some weeks ago, government first provided a new proposal to the trade unions last Tuesday. Government's new proposal offers prepayment of pension or gratuity of 8%. The unions and staff associations subsequently submitted a new proposal to the government on December 8, in which they are still seeking the same 25% gratuity based on the 1958 formula. The unions have also requested additional data to help provide the technical basis for their demands, which the government has agreed to provide. And that's the point you were just making, huh? Government maintains that the union's current demand will break the fiscal responsibility law and also negatively affect the country's debt-to-GDP ratio, which has been reduced significantly with the homegrown structural adjustment program. Further, reversing the gains made on lowering the debt-to-GDP ratio runs counter to the agreement with the International Monetary Fund, and it will jeopardize millions of dollars in potential funding for various projects expected to come on stream in 2019. Additionally, if government accedes to the union's demands, its ability to fund programs such as Imani, house repair, school books and uniforms, and many others will be significantly compromised. Friday, December 14th is the date set for the resumption of negotiations. Government looks forward to a speedy and amicable resolution to this matter. End of press release. So, Devon, I know the point you were making before is the unions have requested additional data to help provide the technical basis for their demand. So all the time you're demanding and you don't have the information?
You don't have the information. What were you... I mean, come on.
So you're saying that government has the ability to pay 25%. Yeah. Government said no. You're sticking on the 25%.
On what? What you're basing
that on?
And
after you have, first of all, without a issue before the Labour Commissioner, asked your workers to stay home, and we do hope that... pretty soon that the funds are provided to these workers and then they need it. The unions are supposed to have it. Pay the workers, please. LL and RR, pay the workers, please. You call them out, you're supposed to pay them, please. Right. So you called your workers out. You took them away you got up from the bargaining table and you walked away. Didn't say at that point in time, well, we find that percentage is a bit low. Could you provide us with some information before we say yes or no? You just get up and you walk off the table and say, no, we're not accepting that. This is what we want. And after you've said that, no, and you've gone through weeks now, since 3rd of October, now, in the second week in December, is when you're asking for the information to see if the 25% is reasonable?
I was saying, I mean, all along, that their negotiating ability was poor, right? It was weak because you don't go into a battle, right, with a Goliath with no information. You have nothing to base your argument on. You asking for something, but what are you basing that on? Why you want that? Back up your day. I mean,
so, I ain't holding your bank book, but in your Devon.
Yeah,
give me $20. You say, boy, I do have $20 is 50 cents. I have, that's where you could get.
And you want to kill me for that?
A day and I holding you in your neck and I holding you by your one good hand. I tell you, Devon, I want $20. Like if I hold in your bank book, no, I not holding your bank book. You hold in your bank book. You know what you have and you know what you're able to do and you know what bills you have coming in that you have to address with what in the bank. And what the unions have been doing is basically that.
Yeah. And
they've been trying to hold you by your one good hand and try to ring it and telling you, well, you could pay it, you could pay it, you could pay it. And after now, when you're saying you can't, now they're asking, hey, well, let me see your bank book now. Let me see how much you have and bring your bills too. So we can know where you had to pay off and things. So if you go have a little left over, so you could give me that.
Well, a good friend of us told us that the unions were negotiating upside down. And I believe that. They're negotiating upside down. What you had to do first, right? Now you're back against the wall. Now you resort to that. But thank God you have a tolerant leadership in governance here that they're willing to, to negotiate at all times.
Dev, let me ask another question though. How all of a sudden they're asking for information? So the union never had any technical people competent in fiscal matters to direct the action that they took? You mean that LL, without even understanding the fiscal aspects of it, just decided that they're going and pull teachers from the classroom? That RR decided that she was going to do the same thing, although she think kind of feel bad, but that she would do the same thing, that they just pulled workers off?
Senator Chester Humphrey, former leader of the Trade Union Council, would have never made that obvious mistake. He would have gathered his data as a good leader will do before you go into battle. He would have never made a mistake like that, or lead his workers right into something like that. I mean, so, come on, that is.
I heard the question asked before. You think that, considering that you would have people in the Ministry of Finance that would benefit from a 25% gratuity, that if government could have paid the 25% gratuity, that somebody would not leak that information to the union already?
Of course. Yeah.
Somehow that information would not leak to the union, so the union would be able to say, well, look, we have inside information and all you have it.
But they can't say that. They have inside information, but what the doc has been telling them, we can't pay it right now.
They have from doc. That is inside information they're getting directly from the Minister of Finance and the Ministry of Finance.
Because the workers who are there preparing and crunching the numbers every day, be like, boy, no, if that happen, we in trouble.
So I'm still trying to get to the point now of the industrial action that continues now as work to rule for some reason. I'm afraid to strike now as work to rule.
You continue next week too? Next week continuing too?
I know, maybe they'll strike for the week next. I don't know. But anyway.
For teachers and,
I know,
school closing, but
I don't know. But what I would say is this, though, that it means, therefore, that the union's position was not based on any fiscal information, was not based on any fact. It was based on ego and emotion. Yeah. That's bottom line. And that's how we'll close the program today. It's after 12. We gotta go. It was based on ego and emotion. Yeah? Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been wonderful being here with you, and everything you say and do it safe and secure. What are you speaking to and with you?
And not about you. E and E.
Love each and every one of you.
Ego and emotion.
Yeah, ego and emotion, but ego and emotion. I feel like going out to that Looney Sparks and Electrify again. Yeah, I feel we're going out to that again.
Opening of new wing at True Blue Bay Resort expected to increase room stock. Details to the story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, December 12th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Grenada's room stock is expected to increase in early January with the opening of the True Blue Bay Resort new wing, which will also mean an increase in employment. Speaking exclusively with the Government Information Service, resort owner Russ Fielding says the expansion has been in the works for 3 years now. He says the cost for the project is in the vicinity of 10 million EC dollars, of which 6 million have already been invested. He believes the investment is significant in a time when there's recorded growth in the economy.
We're putting in 21 new rooms. Those are going to consist of 17 standard rooms and 4 suites. There's 2 swimming pools. We've put a kids club in place over there, which is a facility for both our staff and for our guests. The staff, of course, a lot of them have got young children, so it's like a daycare centre for them, and the guests get the privilege of using it as well.
The first guest is expected on January 11th, 2019. The Office of the Integrity Commission says a commission of inquiry is scheduled to begin in the first quarter of the new year into the affairs of the Marketing and National Importing Board, MNIB. This was revealed by Chairman of the Commission, Mrs. Anande Trotman Joseph, in her message to mark International Anti-Corruption Day on December 9th. Lady Anande said in her message that interviews with individuals who have knowledge of the operations of the MNIB were scheduled to begin on Friday, December 14th, and the Commission of Inquiry into the matter will begin in the first quarter of 2019.
The ongoing investigation of the Marketing, National and Importing Board, the MNIB, has indeed received much public attention. The overriding objective of this investigation is to determine the effectiveness of the processes, systems, and practices of that organization in recent times. The investigatory stages are proceeding in a very satisfactory manner.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity.
Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart.
So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Continuing the news, the Grenada Cultural Foundation says the 2018 Christmas in the Gardens is a must-attend event on Sunday, December 16. Chief Executive Officer Shoma Wells says the 5th annual event is themed Essence of Spice as it encapsulates local talent, entertainment, and spice decor. It also features a children's village and a lot of giveaways.
We're starting out at 3 o'clock as per usual with our children's village. There's going to be bouncing castle, and that is for free. Face painting, trinkets will be on sale, and the children will have a wonderful time. We know that for sure. And then Santa comes in with his goodies, and that is when the excitement really starts. The children have an opportunity to have their picture taken with Santa Claus. I'm going to be taking one as well, so I hope you come and take one yourself. And they get a little gift, and they all feel very special.
To reduce operational costs, the foundation condensed the event into one day in 2017. But Wells says if the corporate community supports the idea, there is the possibility that it can once again be extended.
It is a costly operation, and it all depends on the revenue generation to keep something like that over an extended period of time. We have done it for about 3 years straight, and the cost is very heavy for us. So we decided to condense it into one day. However, we leave our lights on at least for an extended period of time over the holiday season. If going forward, we can certainly have some more corporate citizens partnering with us, we're able to bring a greater cheer to the people of Grenada by ensuring that we can continue to do it for a longer period of time.
Entrance fee for patrons 10 years and older is $10, and children under 10 will be allowed to enter free. The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands continues to touch base with farmers to ensure that they are adhering to climate-smart practices and meeting market demands for their produce. Officials recently toured farmlands in the north of the area, as we hear in this Cherry Malcolm report.
The recent tour, held in the Northern District of St. Patrick, saw visits to 4 success stories in agriculture. First stop, Erlen Monroe's poultry farm at Moncraven.
First time we get them, we put in trampoline around and put in some heat light. That's for them to feel warm. In 3 days time, we could just take out the trampoline for them to get some air.
How much workers do you have on the farm?
7 of us.
7. And that is the amount that they would be to do the entire processing?
Yeah, okay.
Then on to Matthew Phillips' over 10-acre spread, growing mostly vegetables.
So right here we have just a little over 3,000 cabbages. That cabbage would be ready for the early part of next month.
And a whirlwind visit to a hybrid electricity project at Riversally, utilizing Mother Nature's inexhaustible supply of wind and sun.
You know, it was very difficult for me. I didn't have a pump or electrical pump, and then I realized you could incorporate the two of using wind and solar, and then I just decided, wow, that would be a really good idea. So I designed a small system, and it worked temporarily because I didn't have new batteries, so it worked for like 15 minutes, and then I wasn't able to get water in, and then Mr. Campbell came in, and then the MARP came and funded this state-of-the-art project.
The team of extension officers and farmers ended their tour at the Belmont Estate, renowned for its organic farming.
Our production is mainly based on compost material. We put in our compost material and then you put your plants on top of it, right? It is embedded in the soil. That way you ensure that you retain moisture contents and the plant will get the nutrients that they need to grow.
What if you have an infestation of worms, like your cabbage have worms, or rust mite or whatever? How do you control that?
Right, we have something called Nimex, and it is extracted from the neem tree, so it's not any synthetic. Right, it's a natural, right? So we use that and we do some hand picking also.
The whole idea is an educational activity that will be carried out. The farmers will be able to see the different practices, the different methods and ways and things of doing things, especially in farming, in poultry, in solar energy, solar systems and so. So we have decided to make that field tour today and to educate the farmers along this line so that they will have a better appreciation for what is being done.
And that's the National Report. I am Leslie Ann Johnson.